what do you think is wrong with this team? And you can go in a number of different directions. So I'll shut up for a little bit. You just go wherever you want to go with this because I think the issues are numerous.
Yeah, so 9 games, Georgia Tech will be the 10th game. That's a third of a season. So it's not like we have a small sample size. It's not like it's just a couple of games, but it's kind of the same issues that were popping up last year. There's no identity right now, as we said, offensively or defensively. There's poor shooting. There's even despite the offense that's being run, there's poor spacing. And then it is just to me inconceivable how the regression from the 3-point line has occurred for the majority of the team outside of really, I guess, Leaky and Nance. I mean, it's shocking, honestly, considering how well down the stretch RJ Davis shot it. We know Caleb is kind of when he gets hot, he can go off, but he can also go 1 for 10 very easily. So you kind of accept that. Um, but it's really surprising the shooting aspect of it. So I think that's one. The lack of identity is two. And then three, when I'm going to say this, and it seems like a dirty word. Everybody hears it and they start wondering. But I do think there are chemistry issues, and I don't mean chemistry as in like guys are yelling at each other and throwing chairs in the locker room like it's a WWE match. I don't mean that at all. What I mean is they, despite how much they played together last year, the kind of core four who returned, the core four plus Nance don't know how to play with each other yet. That kind of chemistry, I guess, has to be built in season. I made the comparison to last year because it's really all we have to go on. But even last year at the beginning, it looked just like this, very jagged, very disconnected. At times you almost want to say aloof because you're not quite sure how to describe it. So there was a lot of that going on, and I think it's the same thing this year. They just don't know how to play together yet, and that's hard to accept considering how much they played together. It's a weird dynamic, but that's when I look at it, that's kind of what I see.
Well, and it's definitely hard to build chemistry when you lose your preseason, conference player of the year, preseason first team All-American, who didn't play today at Virginia Tech, as we mentioned earlier. Sean, does shooting better really change these first 9 games and these last four? I think one of the things that we've talked about before they went to Portland for this West Coast swing was, we would know a lot more about them. And I think we thought, worst case scenario, they dropped two. Well, they've dropped four of them. And uh, each until today, until the last 6 minutes of the Virginia Tech game, you could argue that each loss looked worse than the one prior to that, which is frustrating, independent of opponent.